A government in Asia has quietly bought more gold in the last 20 months than almost any nation on Earth, and most people watching this video have no idea it happened. You didn't hear about it on the evening news. It wasn't the headline on your banking app. But somewhere in a vault in Beijing, workers have been stacking bars of gold month after month for nearly 2 years straight, without missing a single one. And the reason they're doing it might tell you something the stock market, your bank, and even your own government haven't told you yet. Stay with me until the end, because by the time this story's over, you're going to look at the money in your wallet a little differently. If you're interested in money, investing, gold, silver, and protecting your financial future, subscribe to Money Insights and like this video, because every week we break down the biggest financial stories in simple English. Here's what we know for certain. China's central bank, officially called the People's Bank of China, just confirmed it bought gold for the 20th month in a row. 20 months, not 20 days, not 20 weeks. 20 consecutive months of buying through rising prices, falling prices, and everything in between. According to China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange, the country added about 15 tons of gold in June alone, pushing its total official reserves to roughly 2,346 tons. That's an increase of 50% from the month before. 50% in a single month, while the price of gold was actually correcting downward from its highs. Now pause on that for a second, because it doesn't make sense at first glance. Normal investors, the kind of people trading from their phones, tend to buy when prices are rising and sell when prices are falling. That's human nature. Fear and excitement drive most decisions. But central banks don't behave like normal investors, and that difference is the first thread we need to pull on. Picture two different people staring at the same computer screen. One is a trader in Chicago, watching gold tick up and down by the second, trying to catch a few dollars of profit before lunch. The other is a reserve manager inside a government building in Beijing, someone who isn't asking whether gold goes up this week. He's asking a completely different question. Will this asset still hold its value in 30 years, long after currencies, governments, and even trade agreements have changed? That's the first hidden connection here. Two people staring at the same price, asking two completely different questions. And only one of them is playing the long game. But here's where everything changes. Even after 20 months of relentless buying, gold still makes up less than 10% of China's total foreign reserves. Think about that. After the most aggressive gold accumulation campaign the country has run in over a decade, gold is still a small slice of the pie. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If 10% isn't enough for them, what number are they aiming for? And why would a government that already holds over $3 trillion in reserves feel the need to keep adding more of something that pays no interest, sits in a vault, and does nothing but sit there? To understand that, we have to go back further than this year. This buying streak didn't start in June. It didn't start this year at all. It began in November 2024, and it hasn't stopped since. That means this isn't a reaction to a single news event, a single Federal Reserve meeting, or a single headline. It's a strategy. A slow, patient, almost invisible strategy that most everyday investors never noticed because it unfolds one small monthly report at a time, buried in economic data releases that never make it to primetime television. Almost nobody noticed this, but the pace has actually been accelerating. In March of this year, the central bank added about 5 tons. In April, that number grew. In May, it grew again to nearly 10 tons, the largest single month since December 2024. And then in June, it jumped once more, up another 50%. This isn't a government slowly trickling money into gold out of habit. This is a government stepping on the accelerator. Why does this matter to you, someone who has probably never bought a single gold bar in your life? Because history tells a very different story than most people assume. Whenever the world's largest holders of a currency start quietly shifting away from it, something eventually changes for everyone who uses that currency, whether they're aware of it or not. Parents saving for their kids' education, workers counting on their paychecks stretching through the month, retirees depending on a fixed income, all of them eventually feel the ripple effects of decisions made in rooms they will never enter. Let's slow down and explain something simply, because this is where a lot of financial content loses people. A reserve is just a government's savings account. Just like you might keep some cash in a bank, some in a retirement fund, and maybe a little in gold or property, a country keeps its reserves in different forms too. US dollars, government bonds, other currencies, and gold. For decades, the overwhelming majority of global reserves have been held in US dollars, because the dollar has been the most trusted, most widely used currency on Earth. When a country like China starts deliberately shifting more of its reserves toward gold and away from dollar-based assets, analysts call that de-dollarization. It doesn't mean the dollar disappears overnight. It means the world's biggest players are hedging their bets just in case. Picture a vault beneath a government building, rows of stacked gold bars under fluorescent light, each one worth more than most people earn in a decade. Now, picture a second room nearby, filled with filing cabinets of foreign bonds and currency certificates, For years, that second room has been the priority. The vault was almost an afterthought. What's happening right now, month after month, is that workers keep walking gold into that first room while barely touching the second. 20 months of that pattern isn't decoration. It's a redirection of where trust gets stored. Here's an unexpected statistic that puts this in perspective. Before the US dollar became the world's dominant reserve currency in the middle of the 20th century, gold made up a dramatically larger share of what nations held as their financial backbone. Over the decades that followed, as trust in the dollar system grew, gold's share of global reserves shrank steadily, replaced by dollar-denominated bonds and cash. And what we may be witnessing now, slowly and without fanfare, is a partial reversal of that decades-long trend. Not a collapse of the dollar system, but a gradual rebalancing back toward the asset that started it all. Now, here's the part most people miss. China isn't acting alone. According to the World Gold Council's 2026 Central Bank Gold Reserve Survey, an overwhelming majority of central banks worldwide, roughly 9 out of 10 surveyed, believe that global official gold reserves will keep growing over the next 12 months. This isn't one country making an isolated bet. It's a coordinated shift in mindset happening quietly across dozens of finance ministries and central banks at the same time. When that many of the most conservative, risk-averse institutions on the planet start agreeing on the same move, it's worth asking what they're seeing that the average person isn't. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. While China's central bank has been buying, ordinary Chinese investors have actually been doing the opposite in parts of the market. Reports from Chinese financial outlets note that gold ETFs, the funds that let regular people invest in gold without holding physical bars, saw noticeable outflows in recent months, with several funds reporting meaningful reductions in assets under management amid heightened uncertainty. In other words, everyday retail investors have been pulling money out of gold funds at the exact same time their own central bank has been buying gold hand over fist. The government is accumulating. The public, in some corners of the market, is selling. That contradiction alone should make you pause. It suggests that the people with the most information, the deepest access to economic forecasting, and the longest planning horizon are making a very different bet than the general public. Now widen the lens even further, because gold reserves aren't the only clue sitting in the data. Import records tell a similar story from a different angle. Earlier this year, China's net gold imports jumped sharply in a single month, and the first quarter of the year saw import volumes surge compared to both the previous quarter and the same period a year earlier. Picture cargo containers moving through customs checkpoints, forms stamped, bars logged, weighed, and sealed month after month. A physical trail of bullion entering the country, even beyond what the central bank itself reports. Strong investment demand inside China has been offsetting weaker jewelry buying, meaning people are increasingly treating gold less like an ornament for a wedding and more like a financial safety net for the future. Meanwhile, China's broader foreign exchange reserves have also been climbing, supported partly by a stronger currency and partly by valuation effects on assets denominated in something other than dollars. Reserves recently reached their highest level in roughly a decade. Layer that fact on top of the gold story and a pattern starts to form. A country simultaneously growing its overall financial cushion while deliberately weighting more of that cushion toward the one asset that no central bank anywhere can print more of. Let's bring in the bigger picture, because gold doesn't move in isolation. It moves in relationship to interest rates, inflation expectations, and what the U.S. Federal Reserve does next. Later this month, the Fed's policy meeting will weigh heavily on where gold goes in the short term. If inflation data due out in the coming weeks shows meaningful cooling, that could ease pressure for further rate hikes, which historically has made gold more attractive, since gold pays no interest and becomes more competitive when other assets pay less. If inflation runs hotter than expected, the opposite could happen in the short term. Nobody, including us, can predict exactly what the Fed will decide. But here's the detail that should catch your attention. China's buying streak has continued through every single Fed communication cycle since November 2024, regardless of what the Fed signaled. Rate hike fears, rate cut hopes, inflation surprises, none of it broke the pattern. That kind of consistency through changing conditions is rarely accidental. This tiny detail changes everything, because it tells us this isn't a short-term trade. It's positioning for a different kind of future. Let's talk about why this actually touches your life, even if you've never bought an ounce of gold. Imagine a family sitting around a kitchen table going over their monthly budget. Groceries cost more than they did 2 years ago. Rent, or the mortgage, takes a bigger bite out of the paycheck. The number in the savings account looks the same on paper, but somehow it buys less than it used to. That feeling, that quiet erosion of purchasing power, is inflation. And it's the exact force that pushes governments and increasingly individual households to think about assets like gold in the first place. Gold has historically been described by economists as a store of value precisely because, unlike paper currency, no central bank can simply print more of it. When trust in paper money weakens even slightly, gold tends to become the fallback that both nations and individuals reach for. Now, here's a historical parallel worth knowing. This isn't the first time in modern history that central banks have quietly rotated toward gold during a period of currency uncertainty. Following major economic shocks in decades past, central banks around the world have periodically increased their gold holdings during moments when confidence in paper currencies wavered. Markets often react to these shifts with a lag, sometimes taking months or years before the broader public even understands what happened. That's exactly why so few people are talking about this shift right now, even though it's been unfolding for 20 straight months. Think about how slowly big financial shifts usually reveal themselves. Nobody wakes up one morning to a headline that says, "The global financial order changed overnight." Instead, there's a quiet filing here, a customs report there, a survey result buried on page 6 of a financial newsletter, month after month, until one day someone finally connects the dots and writes the headline that makes everyone else say, "Wait, how long has this been happening?" That's exactly the position you're in right now watching this video. You're not late, you're early, but only if you keep paying attention after this video ends. Let's go back to that family at the kitchen table for a moment, because their story matters just as much as any central bank's. A retiree on a fixed pension watches the cost of medication and groceries creep upward every year, while the number on their pension statement stays exactly the same. A young couple saving for their first home watches the price of that home rise faster than their savings account can keep up. A small business owner watches supplier costs increase quarter after quarter, forcing impossible choices between raising prices and shrinking margins. None of these people are central bankers. None of them are tracking tons of gold moving through customs in Beijing. But all of them are living the exact consequence that gold-buying central banks are trying to protect themselves from: the slow, steady erosion of what money can actually buy. Let's return to the reserve manager we imagined earlier, staring at his screen in Beijing. What does he know that the rest of us might be catching on too late? He knows that gold currently makes up less than 10% of his country's reserves, while decades ago, before the dollar became the world's dominant reserve currency, gold made up a much larger share of global reserves everywhere. He knows that trust in any single currency can shift gradually, then suddenly, and he knows that being early to a shift like this costs almost nothing, while being late to it can be extremely expensive. This is the bigger pattern hiding underneath the headlines. It's not just China, it's not just gold. It's a broader slow-motion reassessment of what safe actually means when the financial world becomes less predictable. Trade tensions, shifting alliances, and questions about long-term currency stability have pushed multiple nations, not just China, toward diversifying away from a single dominant asset. Central banks across different continents have echoed similar reasoning in various public reports over the past 2 years. Hold more of something that isn't controlled by any single government's monetary policy. Picture a map of the world lighting up, one country at a time, each dot representing a central bank vault that added gold this year. Some dots are large, established economies with reserves in the trillions. Others are smaller nations you might not immediately associate with gold buying at all. But when the World Gold Council surveys these institutions and finds that nearly 9 in 10 expect global gold reserves to keep rising over the next year, that's not a handful of outliers. That's something closer to a consensus forming in rooms that rarely agree on much of anything else. And here's a mini cliffhanger worth sitting with. If this many central banks are quietly preparing for a world where a single currency matters less, what happens to the countries, businesses, and everyday savers who aren't preparing at all? History doesn't answer that question kindly for the people who find out last. Now, here's a reality check, because this video isn't here to scare you into doing anything drastic. None of this means the US dollar is collapsing. It isn't. The dollar remains the most widely used currency for global trade and remains the backbone of the international financial system. China's gold buying, even after 20 months, still represents a small fraction of its overall reserves, and the vast majority of global trade and reserves still runs through the dollar. This is not a story about panic. It's a story about a shift happening at the margins, slowly, deliberately, and consistently, the way major financial changes almost always begin. But here's why the margins matter. Financial history rarely changes with a single dramatic headline. It changes the way a ship changes direction, slowly, a few degrees at a time, until one day people look up and realize they're heading somewhere completely different than where they started. 20 months of consistent buying, accelerating rather than slowing, while 9 out of 10 global central banks expect gold reserves to keep climbing, is exactly the kind of slow degree shift that historians look back on and say, that's when it started. So, what does this actually mean for someone watching this video from their living room? Someone who isn't a central banker, doesn't manage trillions of dollars, and just wants their money to hold its value? It means paying attention to a pattern instead of a single price. It means understanding that some of the most sophisticated financial institutions on the planet are treating gold not as a speculative bet, but as insurance, the same way a family might keep an emergency fund not because they expect disaster, but because they respect the possibility of one. It means recognizing that when governments position for decades, not days, it's worth asking whether your own financial plan is doing the same. Think about the shopping cart at your local grocery store, a little emptier than it used to be for the same amount of money. Think about the retirement account statement that arrives every quarter, where the number technically grows, but somehow the anxiety about enough never quite goes away. These aren't abstract economic concepts. They're the lived, everyday texture of what happens when trust in a currency slowly erodes at the margins. Central banks see this erosion happening in slow motion, years before it shows up clearly in everyday prices, because they're the ones managing the currency flows that eventually trickle down into your grocery bill. And it means staying informed rather than reactive, because the biggest financial mistakes usually come from people who either ignore slow-moving shifts entirely or panic into decisions the moment they finally notice them. Let's come back to where we started. A government in Asia has quietly bought more gold in the last 20 months than almost any nation on Earth. Now you know why. Not because of a single headline, not because of a guaranteed prediction, but because the people managing one of the largest pools of money on the planet are making a patient, calculated bet on what money itself might look like decades from now. Whether that bet pays off exactly as they expect is something nobody, not analysts, not economists, not this channel, can promise with certainty. Markets may react in ways nobody anticipates. Central banks could slow their buying just as easily as they accelerated it. What matters is understanding the signal, not fearing it. Somewhere right now, that reserve manager in Beijing is looking at another month's worth of data, deciding whether to keep adding to the vault. He doesn't know exactly what gold will do next week. Nobody does. But he's not planning for next week. He's planning for a version of the world that looks different from the one we're standing in today, and quietly building toward it 1 ton at a time. Whether you choose to think about your own savings the same way is entirely up to you. Nobody can tell you what to do with your money, and no one should promise you guaranteed outcomes. But now, at least, you understand the signal that started this story, where it came from, why it's accelerating, and why almost nobody was talking about it until this very video. If you learned something new today, make sure to subscribe to Money Insights and like this video. More powerful financial insights are coming next.